Alright, y'all. Whose world is this? Hopefully everybody's. Classic. I see the dog Pete watching God until jobs. Long words past the margin. Mechanical movement. Man, we love this record, huh? These things, midnight, they won't act right. Nas just had that golden touch, man. You know what I'm saying? Act like I'm facing time like very smooth. It's like drinking water with the water of life in this rap shit. You know what I mean? Inside for a complete grab Montero cheap. I can't call it. Yeah, man. Never falling 6 feet deep. I'm out for presidents to represent me. Get money. Take money. Hey. Whose world is this? My shit. Project 5 for a brutal. Hey. If you're not rocking hip hop, man, dancing. That's what we do. To my niggas. Facts. Fuck it, the world is mine. Black E-notes in my hand. And then lastly, just to warm it up before I say some real shit, you should know this record, respectfully. This is one of them old folks, this is some grown folk kind of records, you know what I mean? So, my father loves this joint. This is probably one of his favorite songs ever, actually. And it's just as true when it came out as it is now, okay? There is, in fact, I believe, 25 to Life exhibit in Ja Rule. They sampled the song. It was a dope song too, actually. This is my favorite part of the whole record, which they sampled. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. That's a whole fact.
No more
Backward thinking, time to thinking ahead. Facts.
The world has changed so very much from what it used to be.
Yup.
There's so much
Hatred.
war
And poverty. Okay, I'll spare you the rest, but that's some real shit. It's real. That's real, man. Listen, black folk, we understand what it's like to be oppressed, okay? So that's why when we make our music with a lot of feeling and a lot of freedom, because ultimately we want to be free and we want others to be free, because if you're free, then you're probably not going to oppress me. Okay? So that brings me to my conversation. Now, as much as I love freedom and I do want to support, and I want to support people who are trying to be free, trust me, but I'm not going to be a useful idiot. I made a video talking about Black Thought, the whole out there, T-H-O-T, leaders who are on the nuts of Hamas. I know that a lot of the Hamas and their friends, their supporters, those who fund them, love to go to black folk and wealthy or sort of celebrity black folk and try and get them to talk about that free Palestine shit and basically use them as useful idiots to make it seem cool to support Palestine. But the problem with that is that it's all a fraud to me. I think that these are useful idiots who can't explain why they think what they think, and they're being paid. And I don't think that they're being even honest about where they're coming from. Now, I'm not a useful idiot. I have my opinions, and my opinions are based on me trying to be fair and actual receipts. And I'm happy to be proven wrong. That's one of the ways I've realized I've learned a lot is because I'm open to being proven wrong. And that's how you learn, right? You have to keep an open mind. So with that said, I love receipts, seats as I call them.
I want to see the receipts.
And real receipts that we can kind of agree on. So where am I going with this? Very recently, a poll came out, got published a few days ago, and it was done by the Arab World for Research and Development. And they conducted this poll. It was in Palestine. So they polled Palestinians, right? They polled, I think, 668 people in West Bank and Gaza between the dates of October 31st and November 7th. So this is after that October 7th crazy shit has happened. And after, obviously, Israel has already declared war. So I've got notes on this. And I think this poll is extremely eye-opening. And I honestly think it's, again, if you're going to talk about what's going on in Palestine and Israel, you got to look at this poll because it's really, to me, some stunning work. Now, again, I come with receipts. I'm sure you're going to say, Tochi, you can't base the opinions of all Palestinian people based on 668 people. I get that, okay? There's like more than 5 million Palestinians just in the West Bank and Gaza alone, not to talk about worldwide. There's a lot of Palestinian people. I get it, okay? Now, obviously, polls are an extraction, or I should say an extrapolation, okay? So it doesn't necessarily mean when they create a poll about, hey, so-and-so is doing well in the rankings, they poll the people for votes or president. They're not obviously polling everybody. It's impossible to poll everybody. But the idea of a poll is you want to have enough of a sample size where you can kind of get a general idea of what's going on. Because again, this is not going to be a specific thing, but you want to get a general idea, and a general idea is important. So right away, if you can't wrap your heads around this being an extrapolation, I am going to extrapolate what I believe to be the behavior and the wants and desires of Palestinians in the West Bank, Gaza, based on this poll. If you can't accept that, just click X now, okay? Save yourself the time, just leave the room. If you hate science, just leave the room, okay? But I'm a person of science. I like data. I like to actually think about what I'm saying. So I'm going to go with this very enlightened and very interesting poll. So I'm going to put the poll up in the description. I always put stuff in the description sections of all my videos, so you should check the descriptions for sure, okay? The links will be there. You know, not no fake documents. Like, find it for yourself and follow along if you so choose. But I'm going to pick out the stuff that I think was really interesting. So I'm going to go straight to table 27. In table 27, up to 75% of Palestinians strongly or straight up support what Hamas did on October 7th. Only 7% said, hell no, we not about that. Okay? So you're going to see this number 75 a lot, by the way, spoiler alert. So basically, up to 3/4 of the Palestinian population agrees with what Hamas did on October 7th. That is insane. Because if you know what happened on October 7th, the fact that anyone would even support that shit is bonkers, okay? What happened on October 7th is arguably the worst terrorist attack I've heard of in a hot minute. Like, I mean, I can't even think of something on that level because it's not like, you know, 9/11, when people were killed in the plane attacks, they were killed instantly. You know, they would have not really had time to think about it, right? As crazy and as horrible as that is. And I'm not trying to excuse what happened on 9/11. By the way, I was in Saudi Arabia when 9/11 happened, and a lot of my classmates were cheering that shit. But that's a whole nother conversation. Now, the fact that people are supporting what Hamas did, where they burned victims alive, tortured them, raped them, maimed them, like barbaric shit. This isn't like some simple, they came in and it was civilians. It's not like they came in, quick headshot, and the person doesn't have to think about it. Okay, this was like real depravity. To me, is insane that 3/4 of your population agrees with that shit. That's a problem. Now, you look at table 29, 75% have a positive view of Hamas. So, right away, you're starting to get a general demographic or ideology view of how Palestinians view things. Only 20% of them looked at Hamas negatively. But 75% is a lot, right? So you have 75% of people that straight up strongly support, and a lot of them strongly support what Hamas did, and a couple are just like, yeah, I support that shit. 75 support what Hamas did on October 7th. And 75% of them have a positive view of Hamas. So, what that essentially means is that collectively they are part of Hamas in some shape or form. That's kind of where you basically have to conclude, right? Now, let's look at this. Islamic Jihad, right, which is another terror group. By the way, Islamic Jihad are the ones that fired that rocket into the Al-Ali hospital. You might have heard about this. It killed a whole bunch, like hundreds of people, and they blamed Israel. And right away, like the ceasefire trolls ran out and started calling for a ceasefire, not realizing that, Islamic Jihad were the ones that actually fired the rocket, Anyway. But the point is that up to 85% of the population have positive thoughts on Islamic Jihad, this terrorist group, who are working with Hamas, and only 15% have negative thoughts. So again, you're seeing a very consistent picture here. Most Palestinians support terrorism. Now, Table 31, this one is wild to me. So essentially, they were asked, what do you think motivated Hamas to do what they did on October 7th? Now, 35% of them said it was about the Al-Aqsa Mosque. For those of y'all who might not know, Al-Aqsa is a mosque. There were some clashes earlier in the year, I think 1 or 2 or something like that. There were some clashes between Israeli police and Muslims and Palestinians, whatever. So now, 35% of people think that that's what motivated Hamas, which is a very high number, by the way. Now, in that clash that happened in Al-Aqsa, no one died, from what I remember. I mean, I tried to find data on whether people were killed. I mean, there were some beatings and, there was clashes between the police and, some Palestinians, whatever. But the idea that you can validate what happened on October 7th as a reasonable response to a couple of beatings and stuff in Al-Aqsa Mosque is insane to me, right? So you have Al-Aqsa where there's a skirmish between people. People are, injured or beat, whatever. No deaths. And even if there were, which again, I can't seem to find any proof of death, even if they were, they're minor. So you're going to compare that with a skirmish between Israeli police, again, not Israeli civilians, but Israeli police and a couple of, Palestinians, whatever. You're going to compare that and say that what's fair, or what is even a motivation, is going into Hippieville, right, which is where all the kibbutzes and all that stuff is, and you're going to go and murder, rape, maim, burn 1,200 civilians, like dead, and take hostages, and that's like somehow like a fair motivation? See, this is what I'm talking about. When you start to really sit and think about this stuff, that's when you're like, man, these Palestinians aren't looking too hot right now. You just gotta be honest. Now, 28% of people in this poll said that the motivation for October 7th was to free Palestine. So again, or 28%, right, to free Palestine. So the point is, it's not even that they looked at it. Those two motivations don't even add up, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. And if you put them together, it starts to show you a very, very warped sense of reality, in my honest opinion. Now, Table 34, this is the interesting thing. When they asked about a two-state solution, how do you see this going forward? 75% say from the river to the sea. You know what that means, okay? From the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, which means the extermination of Israel. So 75% of the population want Israel exterminated. So if I know 75% of you want Israel exterminated, 75% of you view Hamas strongly, you like Hamas, you love or really like Hamas, 75% of you agree with what Hamas did on October 7th, then I have to just look at it and go, okay, so you guys are all pretty complicit in this, right? I mean, again, this is pretty obvious shit, right? And, someone's going to say, oh, collective punishment, bro. Remember, a lot of the protesters, oh, there's no such thing as, there shouldn't be any collective punishment. Well, you're being collective terrorists. Like, obviously, right? You voted Hamas in, right? And you support them. You support everything they do. You're either directly complicit or somewhat complicit in what they do. So you're being a terrorist just as much as they are. Maybe not to the same degree, but most of you are. That's just the truth of the matter. Listen, and then of course, I looked at this other poll. I thought Table 37, 75% again, that number, are happy with the protests from the international community. Why? Because the protesters are fueling the fire, obviously, right? which is, these protests, it's a propaganda war, which is why you see all of them come on the streets. They're being funded. People are paying for those protests, without a doubt. Okay, they're very well orchestrated, very well organized. It's part of Hamas's propaganda. Hamas and friends, okay, and anti-Israeli, anti-Jewish people who are paying for this shit. So the fact of the matter is, in this area, like I said, 75% of Palestinians are cool with terrorism and engage in it essentially in some way, shape, or form, right? Whether it be electing people that do terrorism, or agreeing with their policies, or being happy when they do terroristic shit. So if I know this, why would my sympathy be high for you when you get bombed as a result of me trying to get rid of terrorists, right? Obviously, my sympathy is going to be lessened because I know this, right? Now, someone's going to say, yo, fake poll, bro. It's their poll. I didn't make this shit. This is straight from Palestine, my dude. You know what I'm saying? And my chick. I mean, the Palestine Chronicle, I believe here, yeah, it's independent newspaper is quoting this exact same poll, right? And using it for their own sort of, newspaper or whatever, right? Obviously, it's been their little story. But the fact of the matter is that this is their poll. Like, I didn't make this up. So this is directly from Palestine. And this is the behavior that they exhibit in their own polls. So knowing what you know now, do you really think that Israel is at fault? You can't deal with somebody that always wants to exterminate you. And that's the truth of the matter. It's nothing. When you really sit and think about this and you start to bring out receipts, I'm telling you, Israel looks more and more like they're in the right, and Palestine more and more in the wrong, respectfully. Palestine, their Arab friends who want them to go out and crash out, right? Again, I got a lot of love for people in general, and I know that there's a population of Palestinians. They're a small percentage, unfortunately, even according to this poll, very small percentage. There is a percentage of Palestinians that are like probably in horror about all this stuff and want this culture of death to change, this Islamic Jihad nonsense. They want it to change, but they're not in a majority, not even close, right? Which is why you have people like Son of Hamas who are out here, Palestinian, son of the soil, okay? Ex-Hamas, Hamas royalty. His father created this shit. And he's telling you, yo, Palestinians are the problem, Hamas are the problem. Get rid of Hamas now. No ceasefire, just get rid of them because they're going to continue to do what they're doing. And people are acting like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, well, it is what it is, man. But anyway, appreciate y'all, paying attention to this. Let me know what you think in the comment section, okay? Peace.